forward and back.
Hi, welcome along to another video. It's forward and back, and here we go for a roll on the KINGSONG S19. Just going to take this opportunity to say a huge shout out to E-RIDERZ here in Australia. They're my local store. They got me started on my whole EUC addiction, and they're the ones lending me this KINGSONG S19. It's very generous of them. This is their store demo model, and they do let people use it and get along and test it. So if you're thinking about buying one, head on in there. You can use my code BAK50, BAK50, and that's going to give you $50 off this unicycle or any other unicycles. Go speak to the team and they'll really sort you out. They've got all that after sales support, warranty. They help everyone out here in our community here in Australia. So yeah, really can't recommend them enough. And thanks guys for letting me borrow this wheel. Awesome. Let's go have a little play and see what we think. So anyone watching my channel regularly will know I'm a big fan of the 18-inch. Nice tyre, I think. You know, it's big enough to get me over the bumps, and you know, can get up to a bit of speed comfortably as well. So I think for me, starting on the V11, this is a really good comparison wheel, and I'm still able to have a bunch of fun on my 18-inch V11, and I think I can have the same on this KINGSONG S19. So I've got about an hour to play today, and I'm just going to be nice to the wheel. I don't want to scratch it. It won't be too technical, but I'll cover over things that I think are good and things that I find about it, and if there's anything bad, and kind of, I guess, what I think this wheel's made for, or the kind of buyer that might be looking at it. So yeah, I'll do all that and have a bunch of fun on the way. So I had a play the other night on this wheel, and at night time you can see it looks totally different with that RGB setup. Managed to check the headlights, they were great. The auto headlight, really good feature. But yeah, I'll start by going over some of the specs, I guess, of this wheel. And you know, you're looking at a really decent package, I think, all in all. Really value, bit of a Swiss Army knife, this wheel. It'll do a lot, I think, for the price. Here in our country, you're getting it for about 3,500 Australian, give or take. And I think, you know, for what you're getting, that's not too bad. You're keeping in mind that you're still going to be reducing your fuel costs if you're using it as a commuter, and that's what KINGSONG have labelled this wheel as, a bit of a commuter machine. I guess it might also be good for a beginner or somebody that wants to sort of step into the wheel with a bit of room for the wheel to grow with them as they develop, and this will allow that, having such a range of features on board. So I'll just start by covering off, you know, what you get for the money in this wheel. I'll start, I guess, with I think one of the big benefits of this wheel is the weight. Lately we've had such a big range of heavy wheels. I think it's nice to see something a little bit smaller for the people that live up those stairs or need to get it in and out of the car, or slightly smaller riders. And the plastics, I've learned to find are pretty tough on EUCs. I've put a few crashes through my, you know, V11 and the V13, and the plastics on board have held up. The other thing you're going to consider is replacing those plastics are going to be a little bit cheaper, and possibly third-party manufacturers can step in and offer different colours, and you know, that's a way that you can deal with a crash if it happens, is those lightweight redundancy type fairings that you're starting to see. So I don't really mind the plastic, and being plastic means I can flick it around. It's light and it's fun, and that's the way you get those weight reductions. So I guess durability we're going to find out in time, and that's one of the things with KINGSONG is, you know, how durable is this wheel going to be in certain places like the sliders and the plastics. So time will tell. I'm not going to be able to find all that out today, but yeah, I think the real world wheel tests will show us. And hopefully this is KINGSONG's third generation of suspension, so I think they've learnt each time, and I know there was a lot of problems maintaining the S22 sliders, so, and hopefully these sliders are going to hold up and be a little less trouble for all the riders. So that's the one area I think that people will be waiting to watch. You know, my InMotion V11, the sort of specs I had there, I've had a great amount of fun with the specs at even that beginner level. And then this KINGSONG S19 is just stepping those specs up a little bit. It's a 3,500 watt motor, so 3,500 watts in the motor with a peak power of 6,500 watts. So it is more about torque than the speed with this particular wheel, but it does allow you that headroom if you need it. So speed wise, you're looking at around 37 miles per hour, which is about 60 kilometers. I was hitting beeps at 60 kilometers and I was overpowering the wheel, which you can hear. It's kind of a bell sound, so I was getting a beep at around the 60 kilometer speed mark, but a bell as well, which was letting me know I was overpowering the wheel. And all the times it was overpowering or giving me those warnings, it didn't feel worrying. It wasn't dipping, and I didn't feel like there was, it was about to cut out. I still felt kind of safe even in those upper areas. So that extra room, I guess, is going to help. And you don't want to push this. It's not an extreme wheel, but it's going to let you have those little hiccups or hit a bump, and you're not really going to be worried about pushing it way over the edge because there's a bit of headroom to play with. And that's really good if you're considering a beginner, someone that might start to take those little light trails or bulk a curb. You want a little bit of headroom, I guess, if you're pushing it. So they're rating it for a 40-degree incline, but I was pushing it up a few inclines there and it was overpowering. I'm 90 kilos and I'm used to hefting a V13 around, so the fact that I was pushing this and it was still handling what I was throwing at it, and it did overpower or give me those beeps, but I was still getting up the hill and there was no troubles. It still felt really solid getting up those little inclines, really fast and zippy too. I was having a bunch of fun. They're saying the mileage out of the box, they think you're going to get about 40 to 60 miles. I don't know, I'm a V11, I could get about 70 kilometers. And I think this is going to be the same. You might get 70, 80 kilometers, depends how you ride, temperature. But, and the tyre as well. It's a big, thick, knobby tyre. This particular tyre is a Kenda. I didn't get the number, but it's really square on the edge and it does track. A couple of times I was trying to do little tricks or show off, and then it did grab and start to track. And I think the only reason I didn't freak out is I'm used to that on the V13. And it does wear down, and the more it wears down, I guess it gets a bit easier, but you need to watch that square tyre. It might catch you, be wary of that when you're starting to get confident and you start to push it and then it grabs an edge. It can really cause some trouble, so watch that tyre. It's a different feel. The suspension on board is awesome. It's so cushy, it's really nice. This has got an air shock on board, but apparently you can dial it up and order a spring as well. You're looking at 130 millimeter suspension travel, and its dampening is better than the S18. So I think it's definitely an upgrade from the S18. It's definitely an upgrade from the V11, and it's just like a little mini brother of the S22. It feels really nice. I was a big fan of the suspension and threw it down a few little sets of stairs. I don't know if I had enough air in the tyre. It looked a little bit cushy, but it handled that too. And I think the rim looks quite strong. So yeah, all in all, I think that's really, really a good little setup for what you want to push it through. So charging time, they're saying 7 to 8 hours, but you've got the 5 amp charger in the box and you can bring that down using 2 chargers. So that's going to halve your charge time to more like the 4 or 5 hour mark. So that's a nice option, having a fast charge if you need to commute to get it back up to speed. Even if you don't have that range, you can carry that spare charger and then get it back up to charge when you get to work. You've also got the USB-A and a USB-C port built in the back for charging all your cameras, your extra lights, your phone. So it's really convenient. It's such a good package where they've just thought of so much built in. Chuck in your speakers. You've got 4 speakers, 2 speakers each side, and really good bass output. You can beat sync to the RGB lights. It's just like a standard Bluetooth speaker, so your friends can just log in to their Bluetooth and play their song. You can all fight to use it as a speaker box, and that with the lights as well. It's just a bonus if you end up after a group ride sitting at a beach. can just turn it on, pump up the tunes, get the lights going and run a bit of karaoke. It's a bit of fun. I think this is the kind of wheel that might end up being a bit of that Swiss Army knife. It sits on your super yacht and you just bring it out when there's a party happening. You can just park your yacht, zip off on your KINGSONG S19 and yeah, have a party when you come back. So I've got to get this wheel back to E-RIDERZ. I could keep riding, I've had a bunch of fun, but I know they need it back. And I just really wanted to get in and show you what this wheel is. For me, I'm just testing it against the V11, I guess, and seeing if this is going to start to eat up some of that territory that the V11 has. And I think it will. It's just a really good all-round value in a wheel. You've got a good sized tyre, you've got a nice sleek design, it looks good, you've got RGB lights all over it, good front and back headlight, USB ports, Bluetooth connectivity for your speakers, a good speaker set, nice set of suspension, good pedals, pads built in. I'm probably missing more, you know, it just seems to have a lot going on for this wheel. Being light and small, that's going to be able to be a versatile wheel for so many people, different uses. So yeah, I think I'm really impressed with the package, and yeah, it's not a pro wheel, it's nothing too extreme, but it's just a good mid-ground wheel with plenty of value packed in. I think from the upgrade, you know, from the S18, it's definitely there. You've got a better suspension and a lot more packed into it. It's not quite up into your S22 territory, but it does sit right in the middle. Third generation suspension from this brand, so let's see how that holds up. I think it's going to be a decent wheel for quite a while. Good for the commuter, good for the beginner, good for somebody that just wants to collect and somebody that likes all those whiz-bang features in their toys. It's a really techie kind of wheel as well. So yeah, fun. Maybe it's for you, maybe it's not. Let me know in the comments. What do you think about it? Anyway, thanks so much again to E-RIDERZ. Thanks to all of you for watching. Hopefully I covered enough information and you got to see a bit of the performance going down some stairs and just hopping around. Anyway, it was a good fun video. I had fun making it. Great to be rolling again, and I'll get back out as soon as I can. Remember to use my discount code BACK50. Head into E-RIDERZ and chat about this or another wheel and get out there on it. I'll see you next time for another video. Bye.